Hello, Patreon members. So this is interesting. Eric, did you watch Prisoner's Daughter?
I did not.
How dare you? How dare you? After I told you not to watch it, it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Is that that's a Catherine Hardwicke one?
Yes,
Yes.
I kind of did want to watch it. I do like her.
Catherine Hardwicke. I said, "Who are some of your favorite people in the world?" And she said she loves Eric Holmes. How dare you not watch Catherine
Well,
Hardwicke
well,
movie? I'm
that,
kidding, Eric
I
Holmes. You've
have
been
to
watching a
watch
lot.
it.
No, you didn't have to watch it. You didn't have to watch it. Now, Prisoner's Daughter. Where this is a very quick thing. If you've seen Prisoner's Daughter, per our recommendation or not recommendation, you're gonna get the ending of Prisoner's Daughter from Catherine Hardwicke. She's going to talk about the ending. We're gonna talk. Me and Bruce. We're gonna talk about the ending. Before we talk about the ending of Prisoner's Daughter, people from Patreon are listening to this and don't mind getting spoiled regarding the ending. Should they watch this movie or not? Bruce Purkey. I thought I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. This is a TV movie with solid performances. You and I are Brian Cox people. I like that,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
it's what
I'm similar to you. I'm usually, if you like something, I'm dependent like this. I'm usually a half star below, which I am here. I'm a 3 star. I'm a mild recommend on this one. Very similar to you. I don't want to say it's a TV movie, but I see what you're saying because basically all the tropes are here, right? The deadbeat terrible dad who's coming back, because he's dying from prison to hang out with his down on her luck daughter, who's barely making ends meet and almost having to go to stripping, but doesn't quite have to go to stripping, and has her total loser drug boyfriend who's possibly violent, and her son who's on the edge because he's growing up and doesn't have any good father figures in his life. There we go. Kind of set the whole scene, right?
That's the whole scene. It's set in Vegas. It's in a house that was actually owned by Kate Beckinsale. She plays a struggling mother. So her parents owned, I mean, I don't guess owned the house. It's probably underwater now. So you get sort of that period detail that Catherine Hardwicke does really well. She did, I think, what was that movie, Lords of Dogtown? She knows, she lives in Venice. So she gets the vibe on how to do that. And she's a production designer. So everything just checks off as far as making this a small scale family drama set in a Las Vegas lower middle class home. So if you're into that, I think the biggest draw is to see Brian Cox be that convict coming out. He's a kind of a pugilist guy who's done very bad things in his life. There's Ernie Hudson, who you guys have seen in the Patreon feed. He plays the one of the closest friends, if not only friend of Max. That Max character played by Brian Cox. So Ernie Hudson's in this as well. So interesting stuff. But let's get to the ending because Max ultimately he's estranged from his daughter. His daughter doesn't want him around, but that whole ruse is gone because eventually, predictably, he works himself into the graces of his family and he gets to bond with his son Ezra by teaching Ezra how to box. You got to put your hands up. You got to put your hands up when people are coming to punch you. Just put your hands up and then start punching. And obviously, Ezra predictably beats up the two bullies in school and he shows what a man he is. So that's that. But the thing that's interesting is at the end, Max has that choice where they've he has a final confrontation with a drug addicted father of his grandson, right? And the former lover of his daughter. And he hits him with a bat. He has a bat. He's hitting the bad guy, quote unquote, the drug addicted bad guy with the bat. And he can actually go back to jail and kill his grandson's dad because his grandson's dad is pretty much evil. He can do whatever he wants. But instead, which I found very interesting, was Max, Brian Cox's character, he actually gives the bat to the bad guy, and the bad guy beats him to death. And Max knew that was going to happen. So, Bruce, what did you think of that ending? And ultimately, there's that scene at the funeral, and then everything's okay. There's a eulogy from his daughter, and then at the end you see Ezra boxing it out with Ernie Hudson, just realizing he's going to get his life on track. So, Bruce, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I didn't love it. I think the problem with the ending for me was it was kind of muddled all the way around. Like, what are we supposed to think the kid learned from all this? Is kind of the bad part of it. Like he knew the guy was going to kill him, but he was also going to die in a month or something anyway.
Yeah, he's
So
dying,
that
right?
didn't matter. So I just took it as he's just like, well, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice myself so I can at least ensure this guy goes off to jail and is out of the life of, the kid and my daughter. Which I have to say, Kate Beckinsale did a really good job. Beckinsdale did a great job in this. I was surprised by how good she was because I haven't really thought of her acting wise that much. So I guess it worked. It was, but then again, I think they kind of hedged their bets because they indicate towards the very end that also, oh yeah, but he's probably going to get killed in prison like right off the bat because the guy that used to be Brian Cox's cellmate, who's his loyal buddy, is there waiting for the guy when he shows up, waiting for the bad dad, and he's probably going to kill him like the very first day. And maybe Brian Cox set that up too. So I don't know. I was not very satisfied with it, honestly. What did you think?
No, I thought the ending was interesting. I never saw that coming. I thought Max, again played by Brian Cox, would just beat the boyfriend to death, and you can tell it's an interesting twist because he could
Yeah. Oh, you totally could.
He could beat that boyfriend or that guy to death, and he can also beat the guy's friend to death. He can kill them both, but he doesn't. He decides to just
well, and also I think he figures that if he does that, because the kid already is starting to see like who the real him is, like who Brian Cox really is, and Brian Cox doesn't really want him. There's that one scene which is actually really good where he says, "Give me the grown-up version," and Brian Cox doesn't really give him the grown-up version because he says, "You really don't want to know what I was." So obviously, if he beats the guy to death, he's going to show him what he was, and the kid will never see him the same. So the only way to kind of preserve, in the kid's eyes, a grandfather that maybe actually was worth loving in his memory, he had to let himself die.
That's a great analysis, Bruce. And maybe if he just murdered those two people, his grandson would have parroted or echoed.
And I think that's what it's trying to get at. The problem I have is the whole movie, I think, is still teaching the kid some terrible lessons. And I think the kid is absolutely damaged by the time he walks out at the end of this movie. So I don't think what actually occurs is what they want to occur, but I understand that's what they're trying to make happen because I think this kid is absolutely damaged goods by the end of this movie.
All right, thank you guys so much for supporting us on
Sorry.
That's very good stuff, Bruce. Again, that also Prisoner's Daughter. It's a you guys are probably getting this on the weekend. They did not allow the reviews until Friday, June 30th. So we were not even able to talk about Prisoner's Daughter.
Yeah.
On our CinemAddicts.
And we both recommended it.
And we both recommended it. Yeah, we both did. But anyway, so check out Catherine Hardwicke's response following this clip. And again, thanks for supporting us on Patreon. Next time it'll be a spoiler with Eric Holmes and Bruce Purkey. So they're gonna figure something out, and we'll figure something out. Anything else you want to say, Eric Holmes? Any final comments before we go?
I was just looking up you got Hotel Tehran is one of the upcoming movies that the writer of that is coming out. That's all I got.
That's all you got. Okay.
You guys, I didn't see the movie, so I'm just kind of going through IMDb. Mark Backey, I'm beginning to see the light in Hotel Tehran, both in post-production.
And one more thing, guys, before we get to Catherine Hardwicke, we have I got spoiler stuff from the channel. The director, William Kaufman. I'm going to tell Bruce and Eric about this before they leave. William Kaufman's an interesting director. He has a movie coming out July 14th called The Channel. So I talked to him about the ending of that, and that will be here on our Patreon feed. So take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Eric. Thank you for supporting us. All right, Bruce.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Christopher, I'm gonna cut this part of the interview for my Patreon audience. I'm gonna recommend this film for them to see, and then we're gonna talk about the ending. Can you just talk about that sequence when Max, played by Brian Cox, he gives up his life for his family by handing over the bat to your father, and what ensues. So your thoughts on the ending and the reaction from that crowd?
Oh, okay, yeah. It's cool to talk about the ending because usually I can't because spoilers. But so yeah, I think the ending is. I really liked it. I think it's powerful to have like a sad this shouldn't have been a happy ending. Like it was perfect the way it was, and I think it was very brave of Max could have easily taken out Tyler and everybody, but he chose to do the right thing and end his violent way, right? Because redemption story. So and he ended up saving everybody. So I think giving the bat was very poetic in a way, and him doing that, when I saw that at the ending, I almost cried. I really like the ending, and I think it's amazing that at the end it's Ezra's working at the gym and he sees Brian younger, the boxing and the funeral and everything, and the song that plays at the end, Tyson, the guy who plays Tyler, my dad in the movie, he wrote that song and he sang it. So I love the ending. I think it's perfect. It was awesome, super cool ending, but very sad.
I got to stop watching so many movies. I got too many movies to watch. But final couple of questions, Catherine. This is going to be cut from the interview, and it's going to be for my Patreon audience. We're going to watch a movie, and we're going to talk about the ending. I read a review that said one of the complaints was the ending wasn't cathartic. I completely disagree. I thought the ending was very cathartic. Can you just talk about that decision? Or, I mean, obviously it's the script. Max basically sacrificing himself for the family towards the end. I thought that was very beautifully done. Can you just speak to that part of the ending and people moving on in sacrifice?
Right. I did think it was pretty cathartic because he's really kind of calculated, how can I stop this cycle of violence? How can I protect her? He knew his time was running out and he wanted to protect her and the kid in the best way he could. And actually, you know, by sending Tyson or Tyler, the character, to the prison, you know, he knew his guys are going to get take care of Tyson, and I think take care of Tyson also through the program and helping him evolve, just like Max taught them to evolve. Maybe they're going to have to get a little revenge at first, and then they're going to help him. So that's my optimistic version. But I feel like, you know, as you see Brian making that decision to go in there strong, and even when he's in the middle of making that decision, he still has to decide, am I really going to go? There's still moments where he wants to revert to his original nature or his violent nature, but he knows that there's a higher purpose to what he's doing. So yeah, it's intense. That was very intense. I mean, I was
I love it too.
distraught that day. I was distraught. I did not like, you know, what's happening to Brian Fox. It's heartbreaking.